Are you looking to screen share a video in Zoom meeting and you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly? This is a part 2 to a tutorial that I did about how to screen share in Zoom. If you haven't watched part 1, I'm going to link it below and above here. So make sure you go back and watch that because that is my easiest way to do it. And right now I'm going to show you an alternative method to share your share video in Zoom. It might be the method you were using probably in 2 years ago. It still works. So I'm just going to walk you through the controls for that and make sure that you are checking every box that you need to. Before we jump into it, I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer based in Seattle, Washington, but I execute events here and all over the world. I'm also a girl from Philadelphia, so there's a little Philly shout out. But I do want to remind you to subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. I'm also the co-host of the Better Events podcast with fellow event pro Mary Davidson, where we dive even more into some of these topics that I cover with event production. We do talk a little bit about Zoom, less tutorial focused, a little bit more overall event strategy, business strategy. We are on any major podcast platform wherever you listen to podcasts, so give it a listen. I mentioned at the top, but again, I'm going to reiterate, this is a part 2. There's not just one way to share a video in Zoom. So I showed you the fastest way and the most updated way in my part 1. Part 2, this is going to be the more traditional way that I know I was sharing Zoom videos probably a year ago. So again, just reiterating, please watch part 1 before you watch this one. So similar to part 1, the goal of this video is to teach you how to share a video file with audio in Zoom. All right, so here I am in Zoom. I am covering up my lovely Logan inception of Logan on Logan. I'm covering up my unmute and my stop video button, but for this purpose of this video, you really want to see the share screen version. And again, I'm going to pause myself. I am in Zoom meeting. A lot of this flow works in Zoom webinar as well, but you'll notice the controls down on my control panel look a little different than what you're used to. But for today, you're going to want to hit share screen, that green button. It's going to come with a pop-up. For most people, it'll take you probably here to your advanced your basic section. In my part 1 of this video, I went to the advanced and shared video that way. Here, we're going to share it just directly through QuickTime Player, which is what I use for video playback here. So I'm going to select the program that I want. I'm then also going to make sure that I have clicked Share Sound and Optimize for Video Clip. And I do want to emphasize here, I am sharing a video file, meaning the actual MP3 file, MP4 file, not a YouTube link or anything. It is the actual file on my computer. I'm going to hit share. And once again, what I really love here in Zoom is that it does show me a preview of what I'm screen sharing. So I can see right now that everyone is looking at my video that I have dialed up. Now, a key difference between part 1 that I showed you and this is part 2. In part 1, I automatically had a little play bar right here on my main screen. And right now what Zoom has done is it's just pulled up the program on my computer. And I'm now using these are the QuickTime Player controls. So very similar flow, but slightly different. You might also notice the first way I showed you, it doesn't come up with the little play bar as it does right here with my mouse because I'm using this as the QuickTime Player play bar. In my part 1, I was using the Zoom native video player feature. So I'm just going to hit play. You're going to see here, it's going to play out. Are you having volunteers at your next event and you want to make sure that you're taking care of them? Well, I have a couple suggestions. So then let's just pretend if the video got all the way to the end, I'm just going to mute it for my own sanity. So let's just pretend our video gets to the very end. I wave, it's my final slide, and it's just going to go to black like I have on my video, but you'll see the video file just kind of stays up. Similar to my part 1, you just hit stop share and you're back to your live speakers or your slides or whatever it is. Now I have a couple more tips about how to optimize this. So that's a part 3. I'm going to be dropping that next week where I talk a little bit more about my own personal tips and tricks when it comes to wanting to share a video file in Zoom so that you're set up for success to make it really smooth. But I would say this video and my part 1 are 2 great tools for you, and you can figure out what works best on your device. I am also utilizing 2 screens, which I highly recommend if you have the ability to get a second monitor. That just opens up your real estate to be able to see Zoom, see your video file, and just have more space and you're less cramped on your one screen. Well, that brings me to the end of this week's video. I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer based in Seattle, Washington, but I execute events here and all over the world. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.